Hello everybody, and just here, and welcome to Bye Bye Earth, episode 2, in which we will maybe see a little bit more of the world and maybe get some explanations. I don't know, that would be nice, I'm not gonna lie. Today's episode is probably gonna mark the beginning of our journey, right? Like the previous episode was mostly just introductory and like world buildingy, and today's episode is going to be, you know, the proper beginning of the story, so to speak. That's at least what I think it's going to be, because we're not gonna know that until we watch it, of course. In the previous episode, what exactly happened? Well, we were introduced to one Belle Lablac. Not LeBlanc, as I initially thought, but rather LeBlac. So the whole entire, LeBlanc, carte blanche, tabula rasa kind of sort of thing, and blank, no features, just kind of goes out of the window because it's not blank, it's black. With a C, not CK, so can't even connect it to a color of, nothingness, void, or whatever. So, yeah, her surname probably doesn't matter much. Doesn't mean much, rather. Yeah, we were introduced to her. She's a young woman with no features, and by that I mean she doesn't have any horns, any animal ears, any tail, any, like, I don't know, fairy skin or scales on her neck or whatever, right? Every single other inhabitant of the world seems to be some sort of a anthropomorphic, not necessarily animal. Some of them are anthropomorphic animals, some of them look more like kind of demons, some of them look like grays, like aliens, some of them look, all sorts of, any sort of which way, except Belle Lablac. She does have something that distinguishes her among the crowd, though, and that is her super strength, apparently. Like, she's very strong, very fast. She can swing a sword without, any regard for anything. She can run on water, and in general, she's a superhuman. And immediately reminiscent of humans in Death Worlders series of humanity fuck yeah genre. I wonder if this might be like humanity fuck yeah story, just in disguise and with a coat of paint. I still am suspicious that there is some sort of, space shenanigans going on, maybe, I don't know, something like that. Why would it be called Bye Bye Earth if she didn't say bye bye to Earth at some point, right? Or somebody did. Regardless, Belle defeats a flower, apparently, which is like a plant thing with tentacles and a Kirin-looking head, and it can talk to Belle if she uses the power of her sword, which is special somehow. It has a name. The name of that sword apparently means Utopia. And it can turn from Damascus and gold into, I think, like solid silver kinda look. So it's magical somehow besides just the name. We're gonna get back to the name later, because holy shit, the previous episode was a lot. There's a lot to cover. In any case, Belle defeats that monster that apparently found its way in a crater lake, even though it usually lives in the sea or in the ocean, and it started turning the water in that lake salty. And apparently people are very scared of salty water for some reason, and the salt water was also black. So either there's some mistranslation going on, or salt water is like a proper noun for magical black liquid that is salty, or something like that. I don't know, liquid black licorice or something. But yeah, Belle defeats that monster. As payment, she wants, some money, I think, one of the seeds of that monster, and a piece of its flesh, piece of the tentacle. And she wants to eat that piece of tentacle, and she's seen as a barbarian because she eats plants. What? that's like the first what the fuck moment I scored in that show and in that fucking episode, and there were plenty more. On the way, Belle like released this seed into the stream so that it gets carried to the sea, and you know something is left of that monster. So you know she killed it because of her duty, but she didn't want to kill it. There's that sort of ambiguity there, and that sort of like grayness to it all. She brings the tentacle home, and her mentor, who's a cat boy named Belle Lablac, they both eat it. Cian apparently likes to eat it with a lot of ketchup and mayo, to which Belle reacts like Italians to breaking spaghetti noodles, or you know Hawaiian pizza. So apparently that's like a big thing that she feels deeply about. That's a thing. They talk about being it's almost like a proper noun, the way they use it. It's not traveler, it's not rover, it's not was it wanderer? No, nomad. I think it was a nomad. Yeah, like it's you're not a nomad because you go place to place. You're a nomad because you went through some rites and you went through some preparation and did all sorts of, I don't know, magical signing of contract with the devil or whatever, right? It's like a thing, capital T thing, being a nomad, not just the fact of you living the nomad lifestyle, which is interesting. And apparently they both are nomads, or rather he is, she isn't technically yet, because although she lives the life of a nomad, she did not go through the rites, she did not take on the curse, which is a thing. And yeah, they're talking that, maybe you should leave. She wants to find maybe where she comes from. She wants to find other people like her that maybe exist somewhere in the world. She apparently was born, quote unquote, out of crystal. Like there was a crystal and the crystal like shattered or something and she was inside. Immediately reminds me of Superman, or Kal-El, I guess, arriving to Earth, thrown from planet... Can't remember Superman's planet name. Whatever, from his home planet, or whatever. And, it's kind of the same vibe, so again, some interplanetary shenanigans going on. And she was raised by a family, but the family got a kid, and so she was kind of sidelined, or felt sidelined at least, because she couldn't fit with anybody. She apparently was at a palace or a castle or something, where she found her sword constrained in like chains and whatnot, and immediately said friend, and took the sword and ran. And then she was thrown into a cell with the sword. For some reason they decided to let her keep it. Where Cian found her and took her as his apprentice. So that's the backstory. Somewhere along the way, what was it? Army of Infinite Emptiness, something like that is called. That I believe is maybe not necessarily after Belle, but like if Belle meets them, then that's gonna spell disaster. So. Way to name drop something like that in the middle of a meal, right? And then Belle makes the decision that, yeah, I want to be a nomad. Cian says, okay, I'm gonna make you a nomad. You need to go through this, training ritual thing. See me outside. And they fight. And, no, first they do like the blood thing, right? Belle cuts her thumb, he cuts his thumb. They put those thumbs together. And that causes Belle to start forgetting him, which I fucking love as a concept. I really, really like the whole philosophy of I was your teacher and only my teachings should live inside of you, not me, myself. So he disappears from her memory, from her world, essentially. And they have to fight, and the only way to save herself from the pain of not being able to see him, recognize him, know of him, and yet him still being around, is to just kill him, to just cause him to not be around anymore. And that's what we go for. Apparently, she also had to take on a curse, which is basically like a goal for a nomad, from what I gather, right? Like, every nomad, with the moment they become a nomad, they pick some sort of a goal. And they are cursed, quote-unquote, to follow that no matter what. And her goal is to find out the truth. There's some tracks outside. Find out the truth about where she came from, who is she, where are her people, etc., etc. There is also the reveal that the name of the sword matters and kind of binds you. Xian's sword was named something, which translates essentially to teacher, and so he was literally unable to use his strength, to use his power in any other circumstances but teaching, right? He could only showcase his mastery of the sword and magic and whatever if the purpose of that was to teach. He would not be able to defend himself from bandits unless he said, hey, you, bandit number 3, watch and learn how I defeat all of you. And then the, I don't know, magical lock releases and, yes, the fight is for the purpose of training, of teaching, so I'm gonna allow you to use your powers, or something like that, which is very interesting, because I would be very interested in seeing how other owners of similar weapons work around those limitations, and can those limitations be worked around, right? Is it the intent that matters, or is it the action? For example, that would be a big thing to know. And we learn that Belle's sword is named Utopia, essentially, or a word that translates to Utopia. They really like their, unique words. And what does it mean for her? I don't know. My first initial thought is that it means that she can only ever use her powers, use her strength for the general good of the world, right? Like, she can't become a despot using her powers. She can't become a tyrant. She can't, I don't know, torture someone with her sword, because a world that is a utopia would not allow for torture, so she cannot do that. But she can defeat bandits, right? Because a world without banditry is closer to utopia. So stuff like that, which is an interesting limitation that kind of imposes a moral compass on her from the get-go. Like, I don't think she would stray from the moral compass in the first place. There's very few anime protagonists that, walk on the gray line and even maybe dip into the dark. Pretty much everybody is goody two-shoes. So I can't expect her, even trying to stray from that path. But we have it, like, kind of set in stone that she cannot stray from this path, even if she wanted to. And that's basically where the episode ends. And I think that's about the best summary I can give you. I might have forgot about some details, but holy shit, there were many details in that episode. So hopefully this episode will not introduce many more. Hopefully it might answer some questions. Or, yeah, if it doesn't answer some questions, I hope it at least doesn't introduce many more. But we'll see, of course. Just give me a moment. I need to turn on my fan, because it's kind of hot. Right. So, yeah, I think that does it for the summary. Oh, yeah. That's some nice breeze. So how about we watch today's episode, right, and see what actually happens. To do that, you will need your subs, of course, to follow along with me. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on in the show, and I'm gonna have to ask you for support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon, YouTube down below, or not. Share my content, spread the word, it costs you nothing and helps a lot. And with that, we can start watching Bye Bye Earth, episode 2, in 3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, that's where she was found, apparently. So it's like a place. Like a crystal forest thing. And yeah, there's this planet that is like a moon. Yeah, I mean, they're really hinting at the interplanetary shenanigans. Wouldn't surprise me if this was like the Earth's moon and it's some sort of an experiment gone wrong with humans being turned into animals or something. Girl of Reason, well, that's a nickname to have. They really like their sparkles, don't they? Oh, those stars in the sky, that guy's like sparkly watch, pocket watch. Yeah, definitely some sort of a magical academy arc we're having at some point. I mean, so many people wearing very similar clothes. Or maybe she's just gonna join the military of a country. I don't think so. That would bind her to a country. And she wants to travel to find her people. So chances are she's not gonna join any sort of a military. But rather that it's something temporary, like, I don't know, I need to get my first class mage certification, so I'm gonna go to Oysers and get it, or something along those lines. Yeah, a lot of sparkles. Already blue. Okay. Those are liquid crystals? Sure. Rabitia, okay. Hello, Emul. Sure. Yeah, it's big. I really thought this rabbit is smaller. The crystal owl. Where the fuck are we and what the fuck is going on? Okay, yeah. Quartz forest, sure. I'm just gonna take it at face value. A classic, Isekai city. I see a lot of, like, around mountain ranges. It looks like there's a lot of craters, which really makes me think we actually are on the Earth's moon. Just turned into this somehow. Also, the title of this episode is apparently Earthshine, which is like, something that shines on Earth, moon, duh. But apparently there are like other translations you guys told me in the comments. Something like, holy earth, those sorts of things. Law of theme. Sure, okay. Do you drop the evil children off a cliff or something? Haggis. fitting for a goat man that owns an inn, isn't it? Or I guess not a goat man, but like a ram man. Okay. Imagine being born and thrown into the evil district. What's that gonna do to a motherfucker? Yes, thank you. I know what nomad means. God? Right, is the god, like, existing? Or is it God, like, you know, our world God, where people just believe in it and that's where it ends? Okay, so I guess his memory wasn't entirely erased from her mind. Could it be that the ritual didn't entirely work on her? Or... those are some really strong teeth if it was able to chip your blade. And why did you bring him to an inn to do that? There we go. Why? Evil soulists. Another thing. Difference between being evil and doing evil. Being evil makes you do evil, doesn't it? And doing evil causes you to be evil. So... I'm gonna assume it's the god stopping her, maybe? Like some presence. Oh. Really? Why would that be your curse? I guess the rabbit is iron deficient. That was not a point she was trying to make. She was not trying to make a point. Grow? Revive? What? Okay. I'm gonna take it at face value for now. Because trying to decipher what the fuck is going on here, I don't think is possible. I mean, it's kind of you to let her keep her sword. Yeah. And Xian came for you. That would suck. Looks like the memory manipulation thing is slowly coming undone. Slowly but surely coming undone. Kick them open. Or smash them open, yeah. Sure. Let's just escape from the castle. Why wait for a trial? She's not wrong. I guess he doesn't mind her doing a prison break. Wilted. So, like, what? Swords are alive in this world, I take it. Is this why eating plants is seen as beastly? Because swords are plants and swords are holy. So eating plants is like eating swords. Army of insatiable emptiness, and it's just some zombies. CG zombies. Sure, okay. I mean, at least they get a cool name. Fuck do you mean? Okay. So if you get depression, you get zombies coming after you and you become a zombie. Okay. Oh, he grew up. So I guess no trial after all. Like breaking the swords is... Oh, and we just get, sure, dog tag from the get-go. Shandigath. True, but he did not make you forget the fact that you forgot. So, why? Yeah, but this thing would be useful. Okay, so I guess that's a thing. Solist is, I guess, like a knight, then? Hmm. Yeah, question is, who does it favor exactly? Yeah, take it. It is gonna make things easier. Oh, okay. It really likes knowing on things. Apparently, yeah, for some reason. Okay, so I guess that's why she was wearing a uniform in the opening. Because she's gonna join the king's army briefly. Are they using music for fertilizer? Hmm. You know what? I just came to realize the world portrayed here is completely and utterly alien. And I kind of love it, you know? Like, there are stories that try to make the world alien, and they usually limit themselves to the trees are purple and there are glowing mushrooms, and we have 2 moons, and that's about the limit of it. This is different. There are, you know, normal green trees and fairly normal landscapes and whatnot, but everything else that's happening here is so utterly alien. And apparently Lablac means a rarity, which, I mean, it befits her. That was a very electronic glitch effect. Technology? Magic technology? Is the god something like the Sancta god from Arknights, where it's not so much a deity as it is a hyper-advanced computer? Amazing music, by the way. That's a very tall tree. Yggdrasil, gotcha. Is this why plants are seen as holy? Cancerous sword? It doesn't have fucking eyes. How can it be looking at you? Serpentine tail. Well, the underdog got the short end of the stick. Why is your first instinct to pull out the sword? Probably because you're not of this world? Is that why? Wouldn't surprise me. If you were like... If she was like... I don't know, detached from the network, so to speak, right? Yeah, exactly what she told Sian. Hmm. Instrument. Okay, instrument like that. I thought they might be having like, I don't know, a play of like one gets a fiddle and the other gets, I don't know, a guitar or something. Gaff? Kir. A center. Hmm. You know what? I'm legitimately in awe of how they managed to create a world so utterly alien. And also very good ending song. Hmm. I want to check out the VA of the King. It's not listed on any list, I don't think. Yeah. Duel. Farewell to those who play the land. Gotcha. Uh, can I find a king on Annulist? No. Can I find king on my Animalist? We're gonna see that, but we're of course gonna see this episode again, as we always do, while the website is loading. I I don't even know what to say about this episode, honestly. In like a good way, like make no mistake, in a good way, but also not entirely. King Roha. Oh, of course, Tsuda Kenjiro. Tsuda Kenjiro, and the other voice is Sato Setsuji. Yeah, makes sense. Kenjiro Tsuda voiced who, for example? Hakuto from Mao-sama Retry. He voiced Gaulang from Baki vs. Ashura. He voiced Avdal from Metallic Rouge. Who else? Tatsu from The Way of the House Husband. Yeah, plenty other people of this kind. And Setsuji Sato voiced. Who do we have here? Someone from Ninja Kamui. Any familiar faces? Not really, but plenty of roles in Card Fight. For example, in Naruto, he voiced Kandachi. In Shippuden. Yeah, okay. So. Oh, boy. Sorry, I just need a moment to collect myself, because I really enjoy worlds that are completely alien. And I always wanted to create one such, right? It's one of my, well, I don't want to say biggest ambitions, but it's one of my ambitions in general to write a story, short story, novel, I don't know, a fucking epic, whatever, and set it in a world that is just, you know, completely alien. Like, I don't know, a world of shattered islands floating in cosmos, where the inhabitants of those islands live by hunting gods floating in the emptiness, by luring them in with the blood of special breed of human, or, you know, shit like that, right? And this is such a good alien world. As I said, there are so many worlds, there are so many stories set in worlds that pretend to be alien, that are surface level alien, right? As I said, they have purple trees, they have glowing mushrooms, they have 2 moons, and they call their ship Yamtra, and the sheep have 3 eyes, but ultimately they're just sheep. So you could just remove one of the moons, turn the trees green, and remove the glowing mushrooms, and the story and everything else would still work like any, you know, random generic fantasy story. This is the opposite of it, because some of the views here, right? Like this is just a normal, you know, just a normal city, just a normal inn, right? Just a normal, usual landscape with green trees and vegetation and some water features and mountain ranges, right? Like those would not be out of place in, I don't know, fucking Konosuba, right? If we had the gang from Konosuba arrive to this city, it would really not be out of place. If they were to meet those people on, I don't know, some new continent and visited this inn, none of that would look out of place. So visually, it's a basically generic fantasy world. But everything else here is so incredibly fucking alien. I'm legitimately in awe. I'm just in awe, really. Okay. Okay. I appeared from one of these rocks as a child. Stone eggs. Okay, I really think that I should, to some degree at least, give up trying to decipher some of the things presented in this show. Because my only possible frame of reference is the real world and other stories in fantasy worlds that I have experienced, plus some of my own imagination, right? That's my only frame of reference. And this show just completely breaks out of it. I can't even begin to think about what are those stone eggs and where they came from. Because at this point, pretty much anything is possible. Like, I could theorize that those eggs come here from Earth, and they're teleportation beacons, and you get teleported there in the place of the egg, or something. I could theorize that she appeared out of a crystal, because the crystal in the middle here was actually a stasis chamber left here by a fleeing spaceship, or whatever. And the crystals around are there because the hyperlight drive in that stasis pod started leaking out, and that's not really quartz, but rather a hyper turbulent quantum foam or whatever, right? I could say that. But I can't say it with any sort of degree of certainty, because it might as well be that this is an Isekai summoning circle. Sure, it would work perfectly. It could very well be that this is the birthplace of a god, and she was born here as a god. She's basically Jesus, God reborn in human flesh. It wouldn't surprise me. It's entirely plausible. It could be that this place here is the birth canal of the planet, because the planet is alive and the planet itself gave birth to Belle. Right? Again, would not surprise me. And I have no way of knowing which of those theories, if any, is any sort of close to the truth. The fact that the moon is covered with clouds and what seems like continents and oceans really makes me think that this is the moon and this in the sky is Earth. For some reason. Very shiny, glittery watch. Found you, I finally found you. Girl of reason. Why would you call her that? Girl of reason. No idea. No clue. We've seen this musical instrument in the preview. It's her mother's, so I don't know. There's gonna be something about that. This is the dude she's gonna have to fight. I'm assuming her fellow, solists they're called? Some girls singing in front of the god tree, in front of Yggdrasil. Fighting... Is this the army of insatiable emptiness? They don't look that way. They look more like possessed, regular people. I don't know. Yeah, like, look, there are continents and clouds and everything on that planet. It's not a moon. It's not a moon. The planet we are on right now is a terraformed moon. I'm pretty fucking certain of that at this point. The oak rock is already blue. Oak rock. It's a play on, wordplay on o'clock and rock, which basically means like those would be like time crystals, which makes sense. It's a quartz forest. Quartz is used to track time because it vibrates at some, specific intervals or whatever. Yeah, quartz forest. Okay. The crystals change color over time. Sure, and the crystals can be cracked to reveal fluid inside, or no, when they are cracked they just shatter and turn into water, which, I mean, liquid crystals, right? We are all using liquid crystals displays, unless you're using OLED, in which case you're not using a liquid crystal display. Oh wait, OLEDs, do OLEDs, no, OLEDs don't. OLED is not LCD, I don't think. OLED is organic LED, where every pixel is its own LED. I'm not sure. Whatever, doesn't matter. But yeah, I mean, quartz, liquid crystal, sure. It's immediately hot, and you can throw some beans into it and get some tea. Sure. Rabitia, a rabbit that chews on everything. Apparently. See, again, very cratery landscape, isn't it? We started the show, the first episode, the fight took place in a crater. This is another crater. Pretty sure the quartz forest itself also looks like it's placed in some sort of a crater. What has a lot of craters? The moon. Right? Maybe. Maybe. Under West. Totally featureless. Bring me something to eat. We live by the law of theme. Law of theme. Why theme? I wonder. Could it be that music is somehow important in this world? Law of theme as in a theme song, right? Maybe, because we have the name of solists being the knights, essentially. Who's a solist? Well, a solist is a solo singer, essentially. So we have solists. We have the king ask for Belle's instrument. Not weapon, not implement, no, instrument specifically. There's gonna be something about music here. Everyone here is destined for good or evil the moment they're born. Apparently. Good top dogs and evil underdogs. Alright. Sure. Top dog districts are organized and neat. Underdog districts are chaotic and sprawling. And they are immediately assigned as evil or good. The law of theme wouldn't hold without that divide. Why? Why would it not? Why do you have to pick a side? What decides whether you're good or evil? God will never allow it. Why? Why would God not allow it? Deus ex machina. God in machine. God in a machine. I wonder if we really should be treating that literally. Right? I think it really might be like the Sancta... what's it called? Codex? No, fuck. Arcanite Sancta Computer. What the fuck is it called? Okay, sure. Give me the wiki. Empathetic trait. Yeah. Patron firearms. Empathy. The law. Yeah, it's called the law. And if you're unfamiliar with Arcanite's lore, Sancta are essentially like the race of angels who are empathically connected with each other and with the law, which is like their god that they pray to and whatnot. And the law turns out eventually it's just a fucking supercomputer. And yeah, I mean, I think that's a pretty fucking solid theory. Where is it? Bye bye Earth. There we go. God in Yggdrasil. Deus ex machina is really some super computer computer thing. Sanctus the law. Yeah, I think that's a solid assumption. Why does the memory wipe not work on her? The brat vanished into thin air, gnawed on my sword. We went through hell to get a little shit here. This is our big chance. We caught ourselves a Rabitia, and drinking Rabitia blood will make our swords unbeatable. How does that work? I mean, swords are alive. Okay, sure, and Rabitia are treated as a good omen, so maybe. Why would you drink this... drink? Why would you drag this rabbit here to execute it in an inn, instead of doing that right where you are? Rabitia are all freaks. How can you say that when every single one of you is some sort of an animal humanoid? Good attention to detail, horizontal pupils, because he's a goat man. Yeah. You're supposed to raise your sword to the music of clashing steel. Again with the music. See, evil soulists aren't what they used to be. If you can't tell the difference between being evil and doing evil. So is it that the classification of good and evil is what? Meaningless? Meaning that you can be assigned evil at birth and thrown into the evil district, but you can still be good? Why be assigned evil then? You can be born to be good and assigned to the good district, but still do evil? Why would you be assigned good then? If being assigned a certain way is not, like, decisive here, why assign at all? It's a very good question, actually. It's a very good question. And yeah, she's being stopped from killing them. She's not being stopped from fighting, right? Like, she can fight them and knock them out and break their swords, which is apparently a huge taboo. But she's not able to kill them. Is this a part of Utopia? Utopia, a world where, you know, nobody dies, for example? That would be a very utopian concept. So she's forbidden from killing? Is that what it is? Who goes around smashing swords? Yeah. Can't become a nomad unless you take on a curse. I thought that the curse is what she herself selects, right? Like, she said, travel the world to find my, you know, my origins, my people, etc., etc. I thought that would become her curse in some way, but are you assigned like a random curse the moment you pick up being a nomad? Can I not cut anything anymore? Yeah, and the rabbit's just chewing on that sword. You've made your point. She was not making a point. They worked hard to grow those swords. Yeah, okay, so swords are grown. Are they grown out of Yggdrasil? We heard mention of Yggdrasil having like a cancerous sword growth. Is that how you get swords? They're grown from God? They worked hard to grow those swords. Well, as they say, fuck around and find out. Fucking around was very, you know, fun and games for them. Finding out, not so much. So, tough shit, bozo. They'll never revive. Again, tough shit. Shouldn't have done what you did. They'll just wither away. Let them. What the fuck do I care? License to duel. Dog tag. Sure. And she's taken in by a turtle with a grown cage on its back. And the rider of the turtle seemingly controls it by playing some sort of a string instrument. Again, very heavy roll of music. Heavy roll of music. Then we see people play music for the crops for them to grow, right? The castle. Yeah, she's slowly remembering him for some reason. Gav. Yeah, she... her arrest is really fucking bizarre. They arrest her for using swords without a license. Okay, sure, I get that. They put her in a cell. They give her some time with the candle until her hearing. Sure, okay, but then she breaks out of her jail cell, asks for someone, and they just say, yeah, sure. No repercussions for breaking out? Someone broke your sword? No, it was someone else's sword that was broken. Adonis. And right on cue, Army of Insatiable Emptiness. I don't want to be a shadow. So, the Army of Insatiable Emptiness is a bunch of surprisingly human-looking zombies. Like, notice, not a single one of them has cat ears or horns or anything. Besides Belle, those motherfuckers are the closest we have here to a human. Army of Emptiness are all humans. Yeah, something like that. Someone in Park Citadel joined the Army of Insatiable Emptiness today. Someone who can't enjoy anything anymore. So they sniff out someone's depressed, and they come out and grab them and drag them as down into hell as part of their own army. I'm reminded of Isekai Shikkaku, where the Trakkun will isekai you if you're unhappy in your world. And yeah, from being an arrested prisoner straight into being a guest of some bigwig at the Passel. I wanted to say castle and palace at once, and it turned out into Passel. Lots of plants everywhere. Right on the top of the closet, on the table, some herbs drying at the fireplace. And we see a lot of greenery outside as well, right? Dare I say it seems almost solar punky. On top of getting me acquitted, yeah, apparently he has the power to do so. Carve your personal spell. What does it mean, a personal spell? Can it be anything? Or is it like the name of your soul? Or does it have any other meaning here? You can't start your journey until you fulfill a contract with the king. Okay. So essentially, nomad is like a really big thing here, isn't it? Right? Like, usually it's not a role that you take, you just are a nomad. Like, most main characters, at least, in most fantasy or isekai shows. I mean, isekai is mostly fantasy, so saying isekai is redundant. But, you know, in most fantasy shows, they are nomads by default, right? Very rarely do I see a character in seasonal isekai show get like a place to stay. And even if they do, they stay there only briefly, but for the most part, they, you know, travel the world, go to kill the demon lord, then go back to kill the king, then go back to deal with their classmates who are also isekai, and right, they just travel the continent. Not so much here. Like, it's a status, right? You have to serve the king for a time. You have to be bound to a place to be allowed to be free, in a way. Also, are there other countries? Do they also have similar laws regarding nomads? Could she potentially have traveled to a different country where being a nomad is just, I don't know, signing a waiver or something? Is there only a single country on the planet? I mean, the god resides here, the Yggdrasil is here. So it's like the capital of the world, essentially. Or do other countries have their own gods? And their own kings? If it is just a single country, it would make sense, even more, for this world to be on a moon. Moon is small, right? The moon could very well be just a single country, ruled by a singular king, having a singular god. Might have made my sword picky. I used to be able to cut down people of any tribe, just like I sliced through flowers, stone, or wood. Seeing no difference between felling people and flowers. It's not that she sees no difference in it, like, you know, oh, well, killing someone is, you know, nothing big to me, it's like plucking a flower. No, she says that, you know, it slices through them all, like through fucking butter. So, it's kind of looking for words that she hasn't spoken, and it's probably supposed to have significance here, but it falls flat a little bit because it's not what she said at all. So this is like a glove I wear when I touch things, right? Something tells me it shouldn't play favorites. Yeah, ideally, sword is, or rather, we are used to the sword being just a tool, an implement, a weapon. But swords seem to be more in this world. They are grown. They are alive to some degree because they wilt if they're destroyed. They have names. They can seal you in some way, right? Like Sian not being able to use his sword for other purpose than teaching. That was his curse. My spell, right. And the rabbit is here, just nibbling on everything. Farm players. Not that my playing ever made much of anything grow. So they are playing instruments to make the crops grow, which has some basis in real world, right? It's been like scientifically proven that playing Mozart or whatever to corn makes it grow better or whatever, right? It's a thing. But this is, you know, made to a much bigger degree. It's a much bigger deal. And also the fact that Belle playing never did anything, it really tells me, and I think I'm spot on here, that the god, you know, the Yggdrasil, does create some sort of a network that every living being on the planet is a part of, and perhaps even the planet itself is a part of. But Belle is a complete outsider. She's not a part of the network, so the god doesn't even notice her, doesn't even look in her direction, right? The crops don't grow when she plays because she doesn't have the attachment to the world. She's not a part of the network, so she cannot send positive vibes to the tomatoes or whatever. Something along those lines. Every living being is a part of a network besides Belle. Now they're gonna visit her parents, of course. A bath with the rabbit, who's male, apparently. Lablac, a rarity. Second person to carve that name. I'm assuming the first one was Cian. And this very electronic technological glitch thing. This is not looking into a magic orb and the orb like rippling and showing something. No, this is technological or technomagical or something like that. This is a fucking broken CCTV camera footage. Which again tells me the god is a machine, literally. It's a fucking computer. You must entertain God as a Schwert Musikerin. Musikerin music. Again, Schwert, dark musician, black musician, something like that, maybe. Schwert Musikerin. You must entertain God to complete the rite of contracts. Schwert Musikerin. For once, I would be glad for a translator note in the corner. But instead we just get the keyword noted down, I guess. Is it trying to guide me? Is what trying to guide you? That's the bigger question here. The king carries out God's will, and the doors to a journey will only open in the presence of royalty. Hall of Swords and Scales, Public of Justice. The Public of Justice consists of 3 theaters forming the crest of Schwert land. Oh, Schwert being the land here, so Schwert Musikerin being like the musician of Schwert, right? Like a proper noun rather than something translatable. Arena of Blades, Throne Room, Dance Hall. Duel, King, and music and dance. Again with the music. Surrounding God with stages on 3 sides. Stages. If the god turns out to be a fucking giraffe, I'm gonna lose my mind. Renders the very space itself sacred to the nation. Right. Grave marker. The god is probably dead, or the king is dead. He's ensuring that the warp space is safe, I guess. I don't know. The throne of the god who dwells in this land. Sword tree god. Cancer's sword that has been growing since the dawn of history. So the tree itself is a cancerous sword. Yeah, I've got nothing. Like, the only thing that comes to my mind is sword-shaped colony ship of some kind embedding itself in the planet like a sword in stone. And because it's biomechanical, it started growing out, and it released the colonists who were adapted to the planet with cat ears and shit. and the quantum supercomputer inside assumed the role of a god. That's the best I got. That's the best I got. Cancerous sword. The tree isn't looking at me. How can you tell? The priestess king resides with the god. Their body lost to the tree. Priestess, not priest. Two faces, top dog and underdog. And again, the separation of good and evil, right? Top dogs and underdogs. The bottom part, that of a devil, right? Bat wings, cloven hooves, serpent's tail. Very evil appearance. And on the upper part, we have an angel with angelic wings, baby face, a halo. We welcome you into our presence and gods. King Rawhide. I mean, that hide is pretty raw, right? What the fuck is this thing? You don't belong to any tribe. The king is looking at me, but the tree is not. The god is not. And even pulling out the sword did not make the god look at her. The tree still won't look at me because you're not part of the network, I think. This weird fucking hybrid. Who would partake in the right of contracts? Yeah, so I can find my roots, sure. Shall grant you a trial that you might forge a contract. Sing the name of your instrument. Again with the music. Again with the music. Not speak the name of your weapon. No, sing the name of your instrument. Runding. Work of the famed sword wright called Dram. Right, I guess that's why they're called sword wrights and not swordsmiths, because they like wring the swords out of living matter or whatever rather than forging them. Curiously, the sword isn't actually fucking called Runding. It's called Eregbon, or whatever it says. Your skill as Schwertmusikerin, the musician of Schwert. Fucking 3 musicians of Bremen. Solace shall be chosen to challenge you. And I just realized something. The dress with a half cape. This is just Review Starlight. This is just Review Starlight. Honestly. Kir Royal, one of our 4 champions, who once shattered his sword. I guess in the past when he tried to apprehend her, right? That was when. Did he grow a new one? Can you grow a new one? Or are you assigned like a single sword throughout your entire lifetime, and if you break it, then tough shit? How does it work? How the fuck does it work? Sad, 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 sad. Yeah, duel, crystal tea, glowing eyes, musical instrument thing. Farewell to those who play the land. Again with the music. Play the land. Is it like a form of, I don't know, terraforming magic? Did they terraform a moon with music? Did they terraform a moon with music? I think that might be it. Holy shit. Holy fuck. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I've ever seen a show or witnessed a story even close to this one. I think the closest one would be Sabiku Ibisco. Sabiku Ibisco was also alien to some degree, but not to this degree. This is honestly a first for me. It's so incredibly unique, so incredibly alien, and yet it really seems like it makes sense internally, from what I can tell, at least so far. Right? Because, like, it's one thing to create a story in a nonsensical world. It's easy. Just throw some random words around, throw some bullshit at the wall, make up some words if you're lacking any, and you can write an absolute, you know, LSD trip of a story very easily. But to keep that consistent and still otherworldly and still alien, that takes skill. I'm really enjoying myself here watching it. Not even in trying to decipher what's going on, because I don't think that's possible, not entirely, but just seeing the world here, right? Seeing all those concepts of singing, playing the land, singing and playing music to a turtle that has a cage grown on its back, growing trees, growing fucking swords like trees, and a cancerous tree that is a god. Cancerous sword that is a tree that is a god. And has some techno-magical CCTV cameras and talks to the main character through them, even though it seems to be disconnected from her, or what? It's a good kind of confusion, you know? It's a fun kind of confusion. I'm having fun. I might be confused, right? I might be completely and utterly fucking confused, absolutely. But I'm having fun. And you know what? That matters. I think that really matters a lot. That things are not just thrown at the wall, seeing what sticks, but everything is actually done in a way that I can have fun with it. I'm not sitting there grumbling like, ugh, another new fucking proper noun they introduced. Well, you know, it doesn't make sense to name sheep a Blumpro. How am I gonna remember it that the Blumpro milk is actually sheep's milk, right? But rather, I see something new mentioned, and it's like, holy shit! Alright, let's fucking go. Maybe children in this world really are born out of cabbage. Sure, just fucking lay it on me. I'm gonna take it. It's fun. It's really fun. Good shit. Very good show. I'm enjoying myself so far. But you guys, you tell me, what did you think of this episode? My reaction, my theories, stuff like that in the comments below. No spoilers, please. I beg of you, spoilers can go to my Discord here, also in the description if you want. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to be notified of future videos, and not only Bye Bye Earth, but also others. Like Spice and Wolf, Washio, QA, Isekai, Wistoria, that one is also amazing. Shy Season 2, Isekai, Shikkaku, and plenty of others coming in the future. Click the bell to be notified when they go live and when I go live, because I stream sometimes. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon down below, where for $10 a month you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Washio, and for just $1 you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. You can also support me directly on YouTube, membership, super thanks, super chats, and if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, you don't have to share my content. Spread the word, it costs you nothing and helps a lot. And with that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's my one for Patreons: QB Without a Nedza, Reine, Yuki Ally, Dr. Watt, Friedrich Jung, Akamasa, Marsh, Fassel, and Hans Peter. And you can join them if you want without having to scrumblerize your blorpos.